Hey everybody, Ash here with Gents. Hope everybody's having a great day today. Any of you out there just get back from the gym really late at night and decide, let's go ahead and film a video instead of going to sleep like you should. That's probably just me. So today I've got a fragrance review for you. It's a newer fragrance from the house of Prada. It is Prada L'Homme Absolu, the newest fragrance in the Prada L'Homme line. And on this one, I've got to give a shout out to Timmy from Imagine Scent. He actually hooked me up with this. Basically impossible for me to pick this up right now because, like I've said a million times where I live, no new releases. And this one's not easy to find anyway, so yeah, we're taking a look at Prada L'Homme Absolu. Gonna give you guys my thoughts, let you know whether I think it's something that you should try to pick up, something that you should try to seek out and spend that money on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this Prada L'Homme Absolu. Alright guys, let's quickly check out this presentation. So we have the name of the house, name of the fragrance, size and concentration down here at the bottom. Really the main difference between this box and others in the line is the Absolu design that you see here and on the bottle. So you have that design here at the top. It does have a slightly textured feel, which I think is being picked up on camera as well. On the back and the sides you can see a slight indentation where it says Prada L'Homme. And on the bottom you have your ingredients and the badge code is punched into the box here. Here we have the bottle, just like the others in the Prada L'Homme line, looks really nice, really classy, and it is quite hefty. One thing though, the black glass of this bottle picks up fingerprints really easily. The cap does click into place. Atomizer on these is really good. You can see on the top of the cap there it says Prada, and that is raised. It is not an indentation. The Prada Absolu bottle has this design on a leather wrap on the back of the bottle, same design that you'll find on the box. There is the bottom of the bottle, but that's not where the badge code is. The badge code is actually right here on the bottom of the bottle, and that is etched into the glass. Alright guys, there's the presentation for Prada L'Homme Absolu. Basically, if you like the Prada L'Homme presentation, you should like this one. Other than possibly this design, some of you might find that tacky, others are going to find that really nice. Some of you guys that have been here for a really long time, like 2 years, probably already know this, but I really like the original Prada L'Homme. It was one of the first reviews that I did on this channel, and at the time when I did that review, Prada L'Homme was not looked upon very favorably. It was getting crapped on a lot online, on Fragrantica, on reviews. Just in general, people thought that it was kind of boring, and I know a lot of you out there maybe still do think it's boring, but when I did that review, it was kind of cool to hate on that fragrance at the time. Which is fine, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Just letting you guys know, I've kind of been on that Prada L'Homme wagon right from the beginning. Prada L'Homme Low is another fragrance that I do really like. Maybe not as much as the original Prada L'Homme, but it's still solid. And then Prada L'Homme Intense is a very good fragrance. I haven't reviewed it on this channel, but I really enjoyed that one as well. So when this one started to pop up, it was one that I really wanted to get. One that I'd look forward to since it was announced. So I'm just kind of setting you guys up, letting you guys know what I think of the line in general before I get into this one. Initially, this smells really good to my nose. It has a big blast of really fresh iris. It's got bits of black pepper and a stronger cardamom note that lends some spiciness to the equation. And you also have tinges of citrus. Not as much as the spices here, but the citrus does add a little bit of sweetness and helps with that freshness off the top. The bigger difference between the original L'Homme and this one initially is going to be the enhanced spiciness, especially, again, that cardamom. Essentially a spicier L'Homme opening. The citrus here dies off in about 5 to 10 minutes, which is kind of par for the course. Citrus doesn't stay around very long, even though you might want it to. Citrus just kind of has a problem committing. And one thing I want to let all you guys know about this fragrance is that it makes my nose tingle. And that sounds kind of weird, I know, but it's very noticeable. Anytime I get a good whiff of this fragrance, whether I'm smelling it close or I've sprayed it on my chest or something like that, I'm getting, big whiffs of it, my nose will start tingling. Like the hairs inside my nose. There's no other way for me to really describe that. There's something in this fragrance, I don't know if you would say that it irritates my nose, but it makes it tingle, and it's just really apparent to me. Also, this fragrance is one that I go anosmic to, which is to say I can't smell it even though it's there. There are certain fragrances that I own that happens with, And this one is a major culprit. It kind of goes hand in hand with that tingling. It's almost like nose paralysis or something. Initially it starts to tingle, and then paralysis sets in and I can't smell anything. Pretty much the best way to describe it. It doesn't happen with Prada L'Homme, doesn't happen with Prada L'Homme Low, doesn't happen with Prada L'Homme Intense, but Prada L'Homme Absolu 100% of the time. So this is a fragrance where when I wear it, if I don't want to go anosmic to it, I have to hit myself in the crook of the elbow, maybe like the inside of my jacket or something like that, not up here. Anything from upper chest up, and my nose is just gonna go haywire. You may not have that same reaction. I'm just letting you know that it's a possibility. Anyway, as this fragrance hits the mid, all that freshness starts to die down, fades away, and very quickly this fragrance starts to darken up. It really does a 180. It starts very fresh and starts to turn dark and a little bit thick. Amber and labdanum starts to mix into this fragrance in the mid, so that brings a bit of warmth and also a touch of sweetness from those resins. This is where Prada L'Homme Absolu starts to pick up a little bit of a powdery feel. Not as much as the original L'Homme, at least in the mid, but this is where that powderiness starts. As it transitions into the mid, I pick up a little bit of geranium as well, and that lends just a little bit of a slightly fresh floral feel behind that more powdery iris. And in the dry down, this is mainly amber and iris with a supporting cedar and a bit of spice. Again, that spice mainly the cardamom. So I would say overall that this opens closer to Prada L'Homme, dries down a little bit closer to L'Homme Intense. And that powder does ramp up as it dries down. Initially it's very fresh and spicy and you don't really have any powder at all. Once you hit the mid, you get a little bit more. As it dries down, a little bit more. So that powder just kind of gets amplified the longer this fragrance stays on your skin. And I will say that I also pick up touches of pepper from the mid into the dry down. Not a whole lot, to be honest. It's just like a little supporting note, adding a little bit of depth. Now overall, where would I rate and rank Prada L'Homme Absolu in the Prada L'Homme line? Now if I'm being completely honest with you guys, in spring and summer, I feel like Prada L'Homme and Prada L'Homme Low are both better reaches than Prada L'Homme Absolu. If you're going for just straight up high versatility, you know, wearable in as many situations as possible, Prada L'Homme is probably the best bet. You can wear it casually, you can wear it to a date, you can wear it to the office, you can wear it formally. Prada L'Homme Low, not quite as versatile as Prada L'Homme in my opinion, but you can use it in a lot of the same situations. It's just got a nicer feel for warm weather. That's essentially all it is. Prada L'Homme only for high heat. Now Prada L'Homme Intense, in my opinion, is a better fragrance in fall and winter than Prada L'Homme, and honestly, is a better fragrance in fall and winter than Prada L'Homme Absolu. And Prada L'Homme Absolu, to me, does lean more to being a fall and winter fragrance itself. So it's kind of going head to head a little bit with Prada L'Homme Intense. You know, they're potentially being used in all the exact same situations and they have the same DNA. And of those two, in my opinion, Prada L'Homme Intense is better, and it's really not all that close. The opening to Prada L'Homme Absolu smells great. It's really fresh, and the blast of spice in here changes things up. The opening may be my favorite from the Prada L'Homme line. The issue is that opening lasts like 5 to 10 minutes. And once it starts to dry down, it starts to lose points. It doesn't smell bad, it just doesn't smell as good as all the others in the Prada L'Homme line. A great opening is a very powerful thing. It really hooks you. It makes you take notice of a fragrance. The issue is, the opening is not the most important part of the fragrance. It's the least important part, because you only get that opening for usually 10 to 15 minutes before it starts to transition into the mid. Now sometimes you do have fragrances that are very linear. You know, you spray them on and it smells the same 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours later. But that's not very common. So when you're smelling fragrances and you smell that opening and you go, holy hell, that smells great, make sure you give it a full wearing at least once, because the dry down might not be as amazing. That's the situation we have here. Not a terrible dry down, just not great. Now, despite everything I've said, this does fit right in with the Prada L'Homme line. It's very obvious that it's a Prada L'Homme fragrance. It has the same DNA. When you smell this, you will know that it belongs in this line. The issue is, it doesn't differentiate itself enough to really warrant a purchase, at least in my opinion. The original L'Homme crushes this one as far as office wear goes, as far as warm weather goes, casual wear goes, and Prada L'Homme Intense at least does things a little more different. It goes in another direction with the iris leather and tonka. This one basically just adds spice and then turns into a powdery amber iris fragrance. And it is always a disappointment when you have something that has an opening that's so good and then the dry down is kind of mediocre. So overall, just my general thoughts. I really like Prada as a house. I know that a lot of their fragrances go the kind of safe, clean route, but I feel like in general, Prada fragrances are a nice quality. Really nice smelling, easy to wear, mass appealing type of fragrances. And it's been a while since I've been disappointed by a Prada fragrance. A long while, actually. While I don't hate it, I am a little bit disappointed. It's not a bad fragrance, it just falls flat for me a little bit. If I were going to rate it, probably would be like a 6.5 or a 7. But I was hoping for, a 9. So I don't mean to tell you guys that this is trash. What I do mean to tell you is that the price that it's going for right now, 10 times out of 10, I would buy Prada L'Homme or Prada L'Homme Intense over this one. Just being straightforward with you. Because as of this video, where I'm shooting it right now, so if you watch this in the future, this could very well be different. As of right now, the last bottle of this fragrance that was on eBay sold for $160. And like I said, it could very well change and these could suddenly become available and the price could drop. But if you're telling me that $160, this is a great buy, I gotta disagree with you. Now, performance on this is actually really solid for me. Right in line with Prada L'Homme Intense. So I'm talking 8+ hours of longevity easily, and projection very solid in the first hour and a half before it starts to sit a little bit closer to the skin. But truthfully, this isn't a fragrance that when it starts to sit closer to the skin, when it starts to die down, that it immediately hits your skin and becomes a skin scent. This one still has a really nice sillage cloud for quite some time. All right, guys, that's pretty much gonna do it for Prada L'Homme Absolu. If you're interested in that one, if at all possible, wait until you can pick it up for a decent price. I think that if you spend $160 on this, you're gonna be disappointed. All right, guys, if you have smelled that one, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all your support. I will see you guys next time.